What's up, Otakus? Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. uh, got some turkey and, spent time with people you care about, loved ones, family. Today's Black Friday. Hope you guys got some good shopping in or got some deals on stuff. I had thought about getting some comic supplies because they were super cheap. And I think what is it called? Comic Plus or Pro Plus or something. They had a sale on clear backing boards and bags. I didn't pull the trigger on it. It is really a good deal. You get like 50, could have got 100 clear backing boards plus 100 bags. Sort of 2 millimeter kind of thick bags for $50 essentially. It's actually like 30 something plus $12 shipping, which makes it like 50 in total with tax and everything, which is still a really good deal. I feel like I would have taken advantage of it, but I'd already done a lot of spending this this fall. Plus, I just got this new laptop computer, which I'm glad I'm back to my old setting with using StreamYard and doing this. It makes it so much easier to just show off books and whatnot. So really glad to have the old setup again. And hopefully the mic is coming through. I see the mic is working fine, so I don't need the headset or anything. Everything looks to be in order. And today we're going to cover this number 7 artist on my list, who is George Perez. And it's a very special artist to me because I just feel like when I got back into collecting, I gained this new sort of appreciation for a lot of artists, but in particular, Mr. Perez, who he was such a big artist back when I was collecting comics. You kind of just he was there, but you didn't really focus on his works because he was just in so much of the background, right? And I wasn't reading Wonder Woman at the time. I had read Crisis on Infinite Earths, but and that was really the work that kind of put him as a creator in my mind. But again, getting back into comics, you kind of look back at his work and kind of understand what he was doing in comics when I was collecting. It's one of those things where you like, as you get older and kind of more attuned to the process of comic books, and just looking back at a body of work, right? When you're in the mix of things, sometimes you tend to focus on what's what you're concentrating on, which when I was collecting was like X-Men, right? The young creatives at Marvel, like Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee. That's what drew me to comics, right? It's what drew a lot of people to comics in the 90s. Without understanding, there were a lot of people prior to those guys that just raised the bar for comics and was putting out some of the best work in comic books prior to those guys, as well as contemporary to those guys. So that is where I am with George Perez. And George Perez now will always be among my favorite or top artists. I mean, this list will shift up and down. In fact, George Perez has fallen. I think he was number 5, and he's fallen to 7 this year. But I don't anticipate him falling too much below that. Now, you know, I will admit my list is very biased. I don't have any real golden age artists. I know Matt Baker is a very popular artist from back in the day. There are guys like Wally Wood. There's a lot of talented artists, but I tend to focus on people who were around during my collecting era. People's whose work I had come into contact with both during the collecting era and when I got back into comics. So it's not to say like none of these guys couldn't be on my list, but I tend to focus on the people I prefer, the artists I have more of a like firsthand knowledge of because I've read the books growing up, or when I got back into collecting, they were kind of top of mind as artists and creatives in the comic book industry. So yeah, I tend to focus on some of the bigger names, but that's not to say some of these other artists like Dave Stevens, again, people that have done a lot of really high quality creative work, maybe not high profile DC Marvel artists, but have done things throughout history and the industry that warrant attention because of their talent. So again, this is a very biased list. And again, this year, because it was the summer of Superman, I'm focusing primarily on Superman artists for my top 10. And they're all deservedly top 10 artists. So it's not like they're on my top 10 because of Superman. They would be on my top 10 irregardless of whether they worked on Superman or not. These names are all some of the best that in the business that have worked in comic books. But mind you, that's because they're the best, they have the privilege of working on the best book, which is Superman. So I'm going to turn off the space here, make it easier to hear. All right, so I've got the books here, top 10 George Perez Superman related books. I'm going to get this party started. All right, so let me just get some screen time here, get it going. Boom, there you go. All right, so starting us off at number 10 is Action Comics 529. And, hey, Ron, what's up? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, man. Thanks for joining. Did you have some turkey? I think you said you were somebody in your family was hosting. Oh, $1. Wow, 30 people. Jeez. Rob was having $1 comic book sale. Okay. So, wow. Hope you got a lot of good stuff. What kind of books for $1? Because there's like 90s books, and then there's, like stuff like this. If this was like $1, that would have been a super good sale. Awesome. Well, glad you guys had a good Thanksgiving. It's always great to connect with family members. My wife, so today we had Thanksgiving we didn't have a traditional like turkey Thanksgiving, and that's not because um, like I didn't want it. I'm generally our family when I was growing up had traditional turkey, mashed potato stuff. My mom kind of did all the prep work to make sure we had a nice traditional Thanksgiving. And we'd always have like turkey leftovers and mix stuff with that as well. Um, but my wife does not like turkey, and I've mentioned this many a time. So, you know, what we got for Thanksgiving was some Izell's fried chicken. Izell's is a local fried chicken chain, and really good fried chicken. So we got, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, coleslaw, a bunch of chicken, some chicken fingers. Just made a real kind of meal out of it and had that for Thanksgiving. And then this morning we had sushi at a spot called I Love Sushi. And for dinner tonight, we had some of the leftover chicken. So not your traditional Thanksgiving, but not bad as well. Yeah, it does make you sleepy. I actually took a nap after sushi. We got back, and I just took a nap. I was like out for 2 hours. Yeah, the sushi is really good, and it's not the place we go to. It's reasonably priced. Now, sushi is kind of expensive to begin with, but this place is real authentic, uh, really good, and it's been there for a long time. So it's just a popular spot here for locals, um, and it's accessible. So the pricing is very just kind of you get what you pay for. For you get the fancy stuff, you're going to pay a little bit more, but if you just get the basic stuff, like their udon and sushi set, it's like $18, which is I think reasonable for what you're getting. Um, and so we kept it low key. We didn't splurge on like some of the big stuff, but it was good. All right, so turning back to this book here, 529. This is George Perez's first work on Superman. Um, and I believe this book came out in. I have the stats right here. Let me just pull it up. You're going to see my screen here. Yeah, this was from 1982. So, mind you, George Perez was doing stuff for Marvel. Um, he kind of got his start at Marvel, and then he kind of transitioned to doing stuff for both Marvel and DC. This period was kind of like, I think there were a few artists that got the privilege of working kind of cross company, and Neil Adams is one. He kind of dabbled in Marvel and DC to a degree, kind of like as a freelance type artist, cover artist. And definitely George Perez falls into that category as well. Because he makes that cross. In fact, he kind of makes the crossover. He starts out at Marvel, and then he just goes to DC and becomes one of their top creators. But again, this is sort of like some of his earlier DC work here in 1982, and his first work on Superman. Nothing really spectacular here, but you see, the genius, volcano in the middle of Metropolis, telling a really grandiose story here in the background. Just got a lot of really neat, cool stuff going on in this cover, and of course, our big blue Boy Scout right there. What's up, Wellbore? Long time no see, dude. How you doing, man? I don't. You're not doing much on the YouTubes these days. Hope everything's good though. But great to reconnect with you, man. All right, so that is number 10. And moving on with number 9. So, George Perez, he does a little run here in the 650 range here, where he's doing an arc for Action Comics. And this is one of the key comic book characters that are introduced, Maxima. And again, I haven't read any of these books, but don't worry, I'm going to get to it. I'm very excited to get to it, though. But look at this cover, just a beautiful Superman cover there with, again, Maxima. Look at her. She's just like, ta-da, I'm here. She's making a move. So another just glorious example of Perez's work on Superman. Now, Perez's legacy character, up to now, I've covered, number 10 was, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And you can make an argument that his legacy character is Superman. You could make that argument. He's just done so much on Superman. And then Ross Andru. Ross Andru, for certain, is his legacy character Superman. Alex Ross, you can make an argument there. Of course, Alex Ross has done sort of multiple characters. He's done just pretty much every character because, like, Marvel just put him on like a cover commission of like all the Marvel villains, all the Marvel heroes, that cover series that he did. And then DC, same thing. When he kind of got his start at DC, he was just taxed with like, hey, you're going to do a Justice League or a Trinity. Like, you're just going to recreate as much of the DC library of characters and just kind of make them your own through cover art and just artwork. And he kind of redesigned everything for DC. It was, there are artists like that you entrust to, like, hey, you're going to just build out a visual catalog of art for our comic book IPs. But yeah, I would, all three of those artists, you can make an argument for legacy character of Superman. Alex Ross really doesn't have like a definitive legacy character. And those other previous artists, Ross and Garcia Lopez, you could kind of make an argument, yeah, Superman is that for them. But for George Perez, it's definitely Wonder Woman. I mean, Wonder Woman is his, because he redefines Wonder Woman post-crisis with the volume 2. And he does like 50 issues of writing, artwork, cover art, you name it, for that volume. And that pretty much is like the modern, because, Wonder Woman is one of those things before he reestablished Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is kind of being done by a lot of different random artists, like, it was kind of this revolving door of people just working on her book, which is, kind of what's expected. That was kind of the MO for comic books at the time. Superman, the same thing, right? Superman just had this kind of like people working on the book for a little bit, then they bring in another person. I'm talking specifically around this era here, post Kurt Swan era, because prior to post Kurt Swan era, Kurt Swan was just the only person working on Superman. So, yeah, it's been really one of those things that just, everything is kind of you have to give a good balance of work out to people so that they can make a living, essentially, right? You can't just like have one person doing all the work and have all these like talented artists, keep talented artists happy. You've got to grow the talent, which is what DC is really good at doing, right? They've always, I think, been the place to like showcase um, creative talent. But Marvel definitely did that as well, did that really well as well in the late '80s as well. So, except they all left, they all jumped ship at the end of the day. Um, I agree. Maxima has a very sort of this like elegant cape design. She's definitely like showing a lot of skin there as well. Um, yeah, she kind of looks like the heart of a pearl right there. Um, and Superman's kind of like a fish out of water here under sea. Just beautiful work. All right, so we're going to continue on again. Um, what I meant to say with the Wonder Woman legacy character is, so he didn't do a lot of work on Superman. So I'm really kind of like digging. Don't have a lot in the library of stuff where he's purely just Superman. It's mostly Wonder Woman stuff. Um, but again, he did do this. Look at this Brainiac there, man. I love when they kind of redesign or re-envision Brainiac. He's just one of those characters where you could make him, because he's not a human, right? He's an android. He's technically just like a humanoid robot. So you could make him as kind of diabolical and as imaginative as you can. And here he's just this giant sort of robotic head. That's kind of cool. And here you have a more sinister view of Brainiac, or somebody that's aiding Brainiac here. This is just a beautiful cover too. Look at that. Absolute genius stuff here. So what is this? We went through 10, 9, 8. This is number 7 on the list. Beautiful. This is really just a cool Superman cover there in the shadows with the, you're in trouble when the red lights or the red eyes come on. Psh, Superman is not pleased. That's good stuff right there. Number 6. And we're just counting down to my favorite. This is a really cool, one thing, sort of in the late 70s to early 80s, Perez does this run on Justice League of America. And this is just a really cool key book here. It's the first appearance of the new All-Star Squadron. You get a bunch of characters introduced, including like the Red Tornado, right? But yeah, this really showcases what I think Perez's strengths are, which is like a lot of characters in a panel, kind of a lot of action going on. But it's all kind of like it's telling a coordinated story here, right? It's not just like a random chaos. It's like really thoughtful, organized, busy work. But anyway, he does a lot of busy work, but he keeps it so quality, even with all the moving pieces in his artwork in the panel. It's really cool. We're talking about the first one. This one could be. Um, and then, Action Comic of Superman. Yeah, this one, huh? Could be. Yeah, do you see, what do you see when you look at this? I see a pissed off Superman. Yeah. I think moving forward, I think ultimately, I think what DC wants to establish more than anything, and they've made some pretty sincere attempts at it through the Snyderverse. Um, but you could tell, like, when the Snyderverse first came out, and then they did Wonder Woman, and it had traction, and then they brought Batman into the fray, and then they put out Justice League, where they brought in again the core DC characters, right? You had the Trinity, you had Aquaman, you had Flash. That was supposed to be, I think, for Warner Brothers and DC. It was like, we want to see Justice League of America, and we got to build toward it, and we want to compete with Marvel. And they made a valiant effort, right? But they just kind of rushed it, I felt like. And nothing against Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, but I just felt like Zack Snyder as a filmmaker was not the right guy to be doing DC content, because I don't think he was an actual fan of DC. He just was this director, had a really cool comics art style, but he was just in it over his head trying to bring the likes of Superman, Wonder Woman, and all these other characters to the mass audience in an appealing way. And what ended up happening was, is like, his movie just, while it had good visual appeal, I think the story just really lacked. This characters in his movie just lacked substance. That was pretty much the. No one cared about these heroes. They were just kind of these generic heroes, and they were doing a lot of cool action, but they didn't warrant enough of a backstory for the mass audience to care about. So, but yes, I gotta agree with you. JLA is something that Warner Brothers and DC still wants to bring to the fore and have it be the brand that carries it forward, right? Because if you can bring these core characters, not necessarily Firestorm, but Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, if you can bring these core characters and have them, this core team of characters, but then also have their individual like films and franchises, that's a cash cow. And DC and Warner Brothers is closer to making that happen now with Gunn, I think, than ever before. So I think good things are in store for Justice League of America. I think this is what we are working toward, and hopefully we'll get a really good one. And for Justice League to be really compelling, you have to have the Legion of Doom on the other end, right? For a team to be compelling, you just can't have like Darkseid and this like, army of super aliens. You can't just bring that as the reason Justice League of America gets formed. You got to have a really smart team of supervillains that get together again. Legion of Doom, right? Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Joker, I mean, you name it. All these heroes have their, Mr. Cold. You got Sinestro. Superman would be Lex or Brainiac or Bizarro or any any slew of these villains, archenemies. Forget who Hawkman's archenemy is. I think it's trying to remember. It was somebody in the. But anyway, we already have Hawkgirl. We're getting Jon Stewart. So I mean, just looking at from that angle, I think we're going to get the DC animated version of the Justice League, right? We're going to get the Martian Manhunter. We're going to get Hawkgirl, Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. That's going to be the core group. And Jon Stewart, of course. And so we've got Hawkgirl, Jon Stewart already kind of mentioned. They're coming. Yeah, Black Canary. I don't know. Again, I'd love to see Black Canary as part of the Justice League of America, but I don't. There's many iterations of JLA, and if they're going the J.M. DeMatteis route, I don't know if we'll necessarily see Black Canary. We'll probably see more of like Metamorpho, Big Barda, right? The Maxwell Lord is already there, so I'm sure we already have Guy Gardner as. We just don't know where it's going. We don't know what the final team will look like, how the transition is going to work from Justice Gang to Justice League of America, but it's fun speculation. Yeah, Black Manta for Aquaman for sure. Okay. And Shadow Thief, okay. Yeah, I feel like Martian Manhunter's a given. And it's going to be fun to see how they work because he's got a very interesting, origin story as the only surviving Martian, right? So, again, the idea of like maybe trillions or billions of years ago, there was a race of Martians and he's the lone survivor, makes it to Earth, and he's the last of his kind of thing. I think that's, you just got to do that really smartly for people to buy into it. But again, he's not going to be one of the major, he's not going to be one of the major characters of this. He's just going to be one of the background members. But yeah, I could see a future movie that brings maybe the core characters of the Justice League. It's centering on a Martian Manhunter story, which would be cool, right? I think it'd please a lot of hardcore DC fans. Right. I feel like Martian Manhunter is there because he was there from the beginning, right? If you talk about the first Justice League of America team, it was Green Lantern, Flash. Aquaman wasn't even a part of that team. It was Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and I think that was it, right? Batman and Superman were not a part of that core team. I think maybe Aquaman was part of the original. So Aquaman is part of that original team as well. It's like all the characters minus Batman, Superman, as part of that first Justice League of America team. Of course, we're talking about the Silver Age, so Hawkman was a part of that. So yeah, if we're looking at the core Justice League of America characters, we're talking about Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Hawkman, Flash, Aquaman, And I think the Atom was there too, if I'm not mistaken. The Atom's an original member too. And who else? And then Martian Manhunter. There you go. That's the original core group. So we'll see how many of those characters actually make. Because I think with Hawk Girl, you just don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the 90s version? Are you going to get the original version? Are you going to get a whole mix of, like, a whole inclusive group of JLA? I'm fine with anything, actually. I'm down with any version as long as it's sort of this. I'm even down with this version right here, right? You got Elongated Man, you got Black Canary, you got the Atom there. It's a really, I think, a Green Arrow's there in the background as well. I think that's a good group there to have. Can't go wrong with that. So a lot of moving pieces here with what's to come, but the fact that we're working toward that is pretty cool. And then again, like back to what this whole video is about, just this great George Perez cover here. This is kind of what I'm talking about in terms of his genius. He can put all these various characters. I mean, you got like a dozen characters on here, all equally positioned and stationed, looking really, really good, and telling a story. So much detail. Like every character's got an expression, doing something, and it's just a sight to behold. And there are very few artists who could pull this off. Very few. I mean, I get there's a lot of great artists today, but I just feel like today's artists, they're just so focused on like just like a painting, like, just like doing like a painting, not really a comic book art, but just kind of putting out there. And then they're using the digital tools, right? Which George Perez didn't have. He wasn't working with a computer when he made this cover. He was sketching it out spatially, coming up with all the different characters. I mean, that's so much harder to do than like designing something on an iPad. And so, yeah, beautiful stuff right there. Hawkman's great. Hawkgirl's great too. I hope they're both there, Hawkgirl and Hawkman. I just feel like they need to be together as part of the team, right? That is awesome. All right. This next one is could have been my favorite. We're down to the top 3 George Perez covers, Superman related covers in my collection. And this one could easily be number 1. The top ones I have specifically ahead of this one for, will be obvious reasons. But this one, man, this is as good as it gets related to comic book cover. War of the Gods, number 1. Look at that cover, man. And I just mentioned what makes him great. This just showcases this. Had this been a wraparound and he just given us more of that, that would have been phenomenal. But even as a 1-page kind of cover, oh, there's so much good stuff going on here, right? Gotta have a nest. You gotta have a full nest there. Yeah, I only have to say Shazam. That's right. Yeah. I think Gunn alluded to in the Superman movie, there's a reference to metahumans kicking off the era of monsters and gods. Maybe it's gods and monsters, but it's basically opening the door to godlike, the Greek god-like characters, right? Um, we're talking about like Zeus, uh, Hades, uh, Mercury. Is Mercury one of them? Yeah, like I feel like Mercury is one of them. Hera, Hercules, right? All these like Greek gods. It's going to open that up, and then of course we saw the kaiju in Superman. So you're going to get these like Godzilla. I feel like Godzilla is just a comic book away from being introduced somehow. Like we're going to get Superman versus Godzilla crossover in the movies, because I think the director of Godzilla -1, that got such big acclaim, said he's open to directing something for DC related to the DC, the multiverse or whatever, the DC universe, and working with James Gunn to bring one of his visions for Superman and these characters to the big screen. And I don't know why they wouldn't be able to license Godzilla and Superman the same thing. They're doing it in comic books. It's just a matter of like, hey, this is a synergy effect. Let's do Superman versus Godzilla. I mean, that would just be incredible battle. That'd be like, I feel like a comic book fans like wet dream to see Godzilla versus the DCU. I mean, like if Godzilla was on the other end of the opposite side of this panel, right? They're all staring at Godzilla. Like that would just be fun stuff right there. All right, well, Bor, have a good night, man. Yeah, Dr. Fate has been teased as well. I mean, I think again, I don't think it's beyond the realm to have something like War of the Gods, right? We know every friend when you're building a DCU, we have Marvel as sort of a what do you call it? Marvel has sort of a roadmap to what they've had success with, right? And they had success with building toward Infinity Gauntlet, right? They said, hey, you know what? We're going to introduce all these characters. We're going to introduce the Avengers. Then we're going to build toward a big event, and it's going to be the Infinity Gauntlet, essentially, right? Thanos versus the Marvel universe. And that was hugely successful. And I think DC right now is planting the seeds to obviously build toward their version of that. So it could be any number of things. It could be a crisis event. It could be War of the Gods. It could be something like Darkseid's Coming, right? It could just simply be something as simple as like, what I mentioned earlier, Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, right? Although that doesn't feel as like epic as something like this would, right? But yeah, a lot of things to build toward, a lot of time as well. I think John Gunn has pretty much, I think, a decade's worth of flexibility to build stuff out. So we got some time to. I'm just really happy that DC's being given the license by fans to see what's coming, right? You got a lot of people excited, um, as witnessed by Superman's success, as well as the Peacemaker season 2 success, and a lot of online disappointment at the delay of the Lanterns. I don't know what's going on there, but the Lanterns has been delayed. But then again, we're getting Supergirl, so we've sort of got this lapse of DC content where we're waiting for the next thing, and it's got a lot of fans kind of up in arms about, hey, we need more. Gunn, you're leaving us high and dry with nothing to chomp on, except waiting for Supergirl this summer or next summer, right? So that's always a good thing when you've got people pissed off that there's nothing consumable right at the moment. All right, number 2, we got to talk about the recent sale, Superman 1, 9.0 copy, found in some dude's attic. Mom had it stashed away. It was like her dad's copy or something, or her husband's copy. Had it stashed away. The sons found it, got it graded, came back a 9.0, and then it sold at auction for $9.12 million. $9,125,000 comic book, the highest selling comic book of all time. And I have my theories on who bought the last record sale of Superman 1, which was 5 point something million. I honestly thought it was a bunch of Warner Brother DC executives that bought that book. I'm convinced that they bought that book. Just to make news, just to put Superman on the map. It was more of a PR. I mean, again, as an executive, as a company, why wouldn't you invest in a book like that, right? It's literally an investment that you can resell to the next highest bidder. But that's a book you want to make big splashes. You don't want that selling for like under value, right? You don't want some like collector selling their house to get the book. No, you're gonna make sure it sells for top dollar. So I'm just saying, like, the only people who would be motivated to do that are either really high-end rich collectors, which they're out there, or a bunch of executives that where $9 million is chump change to, right? So that's what I think happened with that previous book and the $9.1 million book. They never disclose who buys these things, but trust me, it's some movie exec, probably James, maybe it's even James Gunn. Maybe James Gunn bought the damn book, but it's somebody who has everything to benefit by getting Superman in the newspapers, selling for, maybe it was Jim Lee, but it's somebody in the DC Warner Brothers space, a team of executives or whatever. It's a investment. It's an active, like, hey, we're going to spend this amount of money because it's going to generate more in terms of PR and press for RIP. It's a calculated move, but whatever the reason, Superman's back on, has always been on top, will stay on top. That Action One, beautiful copy. Or sorry, not Action One, Superman One, beautiful copy. And I just thought again, this is, I think, the best Superman cover that George Perez. It's not number 1, but in terms of just pure Superman cover, this takes the cake, and it's a must-have if you're a Superman fan, especially if you're a George Perez fan. I mean, look at that. It's an homage of Superman 1, but I mean, talk about if you were to do this as like a who drew it better kind of video, Schuster or Perez. I doubt few people would pick Schuster. I mean, Perez is just drawing circles around Schuster at this point with this cover here. It's not even a fair competition, but man, what a beautiful cover that is. And it's an action cover. So it's a homage to Superman 1 on an action cover. Look at that, 643. Beautiful book. Beautiful cover. But it is not our number one. Our number one book, and this is a darling of the collection. I only pulled this out on special occasions. And this is a special occasion because we're celebrating George Perez here. It was probably not Nicolas Cage, right? Nick Cage did get his Superman book back, though, right? It was stolen, and then he got it back, and then he sold it. He sold it for an undisclosed amount to a private collector. And I think he sold an Action 1. It wasn't a Superman 1. It was an Action 1, if I'm not mistaken. But I doubt it was Nick Cage, because Nick Cage is dealing with he's dealing with, I think, he lost his house in the fires, right? If I'm not mistaken. There was concern that he lost his comic books too in that fire, which is good for him because I think if it's insured, he's getting that money back. But yeah, I mean, if he's a fan of comic books, he's obviously, I would be distraught if my books got burned in a fire. But even though I've, probably, a fraction of the value that Nick Cage has in one of his big books. It's just one of those like things I think every collector fears. It's like, man, what if my collection went up in flames? It's like, it just, you'd be like Superman right here on the cover. You'd just be like, how am I going to get over this kind of thing? But yes, this Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 7, this takes the top spot for Superman-related covers. And we talked about this iconic cover here, homage. This is also an homage cover to, I think, Batman. I think it's 156 or something. I forget the number. But it's, who's the Batman artist? It was, oh man, the name's for just not coming to me right now. Batman artist from the Silver Age, Golden Age, Silver Age. What is it? All right, I'm gonna look this up now. Let's do it. Hang on, I'm gonna just do it right here in my computer. Is it Batman 156? I just want to make sure it's that one. I think it is. Yeah, it's Batman 156, and it's a cover by don't make me go into it. Here we go. Sheldon Moldoff. How could I forget a name like Sheldon Moldoff? The legendary Sheldon Moldoff. So this is a homage to a Batman Robin cover where Batman's carrying Robin's body and lamenting his death on this alien world. But man, this hits differently because it's Superman, it's Kara, and Kara sacrifices herself just to give the multiverse another shot at existence. She kind of fights Anti-Monitor. Anti-Monitor does a lethal attack on her. He's able to escape, but they kind of destroy one of the machines that were. They delay the sort of the event, right? And purely on the actions of or sacrifice, I should say, of Supergirl. And man, what a great cover this is, because it's like the whole of the DC multiverse. We're talking like all the Earths, right? All the different in multi Earths that are in this arc, and all the related sort of heroes and villains and people who are fighting for a common cause, and which is the survival of their Earths, their universes, their existences. And man, again, the two main characters here at the forefront. You got the death, you got the pain of the loss being expressed there, and then just everybody kind of observing the moment of silence. Really, I mean, look at all the background detail there with all the figures, and the foreground here, just painting the most painful of pictures there. And yeah, mine's signed by Wolfman and Perez, the dynamic duo, creative duo that brought so many good, not only this, but the new Teen Titans to life as well. So many great, they brought, a lot of great comic books to fans during my collecting era. So really amazing piece of work here. And my top book by George Perez in the Superman related book. And we're counting down. So we're now kind of cover number 6 artist in my next video. And that's where we'll start. So all in all, I think it's been a pretty, kind of quiet period, I want to say, for the channel. I haven't been doing much. Neil Adams, yes. Oh, he lost houses to, okay, he had to sell the book because of, okay, so he had to sell the book because of the financial problems. Okay. Gotcha. I got the book just signed by Perez after he had passed. And then I met Marv Wolfman at SummerCon a couple years back, got that signed. So yeah, I only got half of this dual signature. But yeah, that's just, man, that pops right there. Love the placement. I love it, because like Perez did it right here, and then Wolfman's like, oh, I've got a black pen. I got nowhere to sign except in the 50th DC logo area, and it just, Wolfman, Perez, it just works. Love that. Didn't do it across the artwork or anything, just right there in the trade dress. Beautiful book. Bob Hope. Back in the day, huh? That must have been cool. Bob Hope he was larger than life in terms of superstar celebrities. Bob Hope, he's like Mount Rushmore of like celebrities, at least comedians. Right? You should have had him sign it. That would have been awesome. That'd be worth a lot of money, I'm sure. Bob Hope. Man, Bob Hope. used to have those like holiday specials and like all American. He'd showcase like all American college football players or NFL players and stuff. Pretty big time television guy. Oh, did he? Okay. Didn't know that. Was he from England? Okay. I don't doubt that. But he was American, right? Like his parents were from England? Because he didn't have a British accent or anything. So I'm thinking he was like grew up here. It was Bob Hope, like Jack Lemmon, these old time TV comedians like Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis is another big time comedian. George Burns, that dude lived to be like 100 or so. That was a running joke after a while. Bob Hope and George Burns outliving everybody. Bob Hope would have his like holiday special year after year after year, and he was like 90, and he's still doing these things, and so pretty cool to see that. Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought. So there you have it, folks. We have our top George Perez books. Little quick video, nothing major. I am going to try to complete the top 10 artists. I'm going to try to put out some more videos here, or maybe do one tomorrow or on Sunday, kind of get through before the end of the year. I'm also going back to work next week because I've been taking sort of a personal injury leave post car accident. Took a couple weeks off while I was getting my back treated. My company did not approve me to take more time off, more than 2 weeks. So if I don't go back, I'm not going to be making money. So they're kind of forcing me back before I'm really kind of I feel like I'm ready, though. I feel like, it's a matter of just being able to sit for a long period of time. But that I can't do. But what I can do is like sit, take the appropriate breaks that I need, maybe take a walk, kind of do some stretches and exercises throughout the day. And hopefully that will be enough to like get me through the work day. But we'll have to see. I got to do it first before I understand what my limitations are, what I can and can't do. But I feel like I could do it. So definitely feeling much better than like what I was feeling like 2 weeks ago after the accident. But in terms of the back pain, it's there. That's not really improving. I definitely have like limited mobility from before. So the real question is, will I just have to deal with like a lot of pain moving forward? I feel like what's likely to happen is I'm just going to have kind of more muscle related issues from just having to sit and be in not a good position for my back, my lower back. Because even now, like, sitting long, even doing this video, it's just like I can kind of feel, if I don't have the brace on, I can just kind of feel my back kind of like, start to ache. So that's really what has me concerned about returning to work. But again, got to kind of do it, see how I feel, and see what I need to do, what adjustments I need to make to get through that. I will have my pain medication with me. I will have um, the ability to take breaks here and there, maybe go lie down somewhere, um, just to take kind of pressure off my back for a little bit. But yeah, that's what we got going on there. And then before the year is out, we're going to do our best pickups of 2025, which is always a fun one. And this year I picked up so many books. Like, I could just literally make it the best Superman related pickups, but we'll keep it broad. Um, but I need to come up with like a number, right? Because if I just do like best, I'll just bring out a crap load of books and show them all, and it'll be like 100 books or so. So I want to kind of keep it to like top 20 books or top 25 books of 20. Maybe we'll do top 25 of 2025. That seems like we just decided it right there. So we're going to do a top 25 of 2025 list before the year's out, and we'll go from there. So yeah. Thanks, Ron. Don't want to get you in trouble. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing the chiropractor now. He's having me do these exercises to strengthen my core, because apparently, like, if your like core muscles are weak, which my core muscles are, um, that can lead to you having to rely too much on other muscles, and then that can lead to muscle related issues and pain related to that, as well as the actual kind of ligament and spine damage that's kind of healing at the moment. So I've got a lot of like things I need to improve for my back to feel better. So I'm they want me to do these core exercises every chance I get, but they're just so like they really take a lot out of you. Like after I'm doing them, you're just out of breath, and they're really hard to do. So I do have to get stronger, but that's what they're helping me with. They're helping me with just doing some exercises. Obviously, like the chiropractic stuff, kind of get me aligned and take the tension out of my muscles and neck and back. So yes, be doing that for a little while. Hopefully, I'll start to feel better in the back. But it's gotten, actually, my neck's improved a lot. My shoulders. There are no issues there. Nothing in the mid back. It's right now, everything's in the lower back right now for me in terms of pain. And so, but everything's interconnected, interrelated. So, again, some of these core muscle exercises and stretches are apparently what's going to help me feel better. We'll see. All right. Well, I want to shout out to you, Ron. I want to shout out to Brandon, William, Travis, Miss So, all of you guys who help and hang out with me from time to time. So hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And again, happy holidays to everybody as we approach Christmas and the new year. And we'll just keep seeing you in the next one. So thanks for joining. Peace out, everybody. Oh, usually there's really no time. Usually like 8 to 8:30, sometimes 7 to 7:30. So I'll try to be more consistent with that. I'll try to go on at 8 most days. Today I got a late start, 9. See you, man.